What's up, it's Tom. Thanks for clicking on this video. We're talking about Chris Paddack. What should the Twins do with this guy? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to trade him? Some of that might not be baseball motivated. That question, maybe the Twins front office is going to be expected to cut some more payroll before opening day. I don't know, but let's just assume it is a baseball-only question and kind of move forward from there. I think there's still that question lingers, even without the sort of business side of things mudding up the picture. But Paddack pitched on Sunday. We'll take a look at a couple lowlights here, unfortunately. Gave up a couple of home runs in that start. He went 3 innings, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs. So not a great start. Struck out 1 batter, didn't walk anybody. Threw 51 pitches, which I was pretty surprised that he's already throwing 51 pitches this early in spring. 70.6% strike, so was in the zone, was aggressive. Here are some comments from Paddack himself and Rocco Baldelli from after that performance.
Body felt great, man. I think overall in spring, this entire season, that's my goal. Making sure I'm staying healthy.
Overall, I think he looked good. He looked strong. His arm strength is in a good spot right now. He's working on things out there, and the outings are looking pretty good. I think he looks very comfortable.
So you heard Rocco mention that he's working on some things. A big challenge with Paddack right now is trying to get his slider velocity up. You see, actually, everything else was up in that outing. Topped out at 95.7 miles per hour. Four-seamer up, curveball up, changeup up, but the slider a full mile per hour on average. Down. Paddack mentioned that in his interview, not wanting to see those 2s, those 82s, looking for more 85s on the slider in particular. Apparently working on different ways to get more pressure on certain places or certain fingers that he needs more pressure on that pitch. We know that's something he's working on, and even by the numbers here, it shows that that pitch is a little bit behind. His max velo on that pitch in this outing was the same as his average from last year. But again, this is a very limited. He only threw 6 sliders, so very limited data. But it's something he's working on. So Chris Paddack, I definitely can see if you're someone who's really excited. We talk about prospects and the young guys on this channel so much. I'm excited for David Festa. I'm excited for Zebby Matthews. Chris Paddack, if you think about it, he's in their way. If you want to really think about it that way, that's a legit thing to consider. But how legit is that? How in the way is Chris Paddack? I mean, this is a guy who's never been the image of health in his own right. But in any rotation, across all of Major League Baseball, there's always going to be opportunities that emerge. That's how we got to see so much of David Festa and Zebby Matthews last year as it was, with Chris Paddack factoring very much in that picture. But here's some numbers on the total number of guys who made starts last year in 2024. We're just going to boil that down on the bottom and say only 4 pitchers on average per team made 20 or more starts. What does that mean? If you break that down, Pablo Lopez made his 20th start on July 20th. So if you're putting in a full season of starts, you're missing over 2 months if you make 20 starts. You can only count on 4 of your starters to even do that. So there will be opportunities. Your number 6 starter on average is making 10 starts. That's basically 2 months they're spending in the rotation. So David Festa, just on average, and as Twins fans, I feel like we can generally safely assume that they will have more injuries than average for whatever reason. So just on average, we can expect that David Festa is going to make 10-plus starts, or to put another way, be in the rotation for 2 months. 8 starters on average make at least 5 starts, or to put another way, spend about a month in the rotation. So that brings in your Zebby Matthews. That brings in whoever the number 8 starter might be. Looking at the 40-man roster, maybe that's Travis Adams right now. Maybe that's Marco Raya right now. Maybe that's Louis Varland right now, depending on what they're going to do with him. Maybe eventually when it comes down to it, that's Andrew Morris or Corey Lewis or somebody like that who's not on the 40-man roster. Maybe Aberson Castellano, the Rule 5 pick, who's been a starter, probably going to pitch mostly to the bullpen, but they'll need a spot start here or there. And then 10 pitchers on average, over 10 pitchers make multiple starts, Not just like a spot start, but multiple, at least 2 starts. So you can look really far down that depth chart and say, well, that guy's going to find some opportunities. Yeah, it's easy to sit here in early March and say Chris Paddack is in the way of these guys when it's just probably not going to be the case once we get down to it. And luckily the Twins are remarkably healthy and knock on all of the wood in spring training right now. But we know that's not going to continue. And in addition to injuries, some guys also just underperform. And as good as Simeon Woods Richardson was last year, he's not. You can't really say he's a proven MLB starter. He's got to kind of work to establish himself still. So there'll be opportunities opening up. And then kind of on the flip side of this is it really is remarkable in a 162-game season how often there are races that come down to, a game or two. It's amazing that's a thing. So I'm not saying, you can ever afford to not put your best foot forward. And, if you feel like Festa or Zebby gives you a better chance to win than Chris Paddack, you don't feel good about that. But baseball's also really weird in many other ways. And one of them is that it's such a team game. I think this is the ultimate baseball as a team game stat, maybe. This is me not trying to I've never compared two players on this level. This is just this is a stat that just says how crazy is baseball. Sonny Gray in 2023, one of the best pitchers in baseball, almost won a Cy Young. I think he led the league in FIP that year. Twins had a losing record. Twins had a losing record when Sonny Gray started in 2023. They were 14-18 when Sonny Gray started in 2023 when he was remarkably good. And then last season, when Chris Paddack wasn't even really any good, the Twins were 11-6 in his starts. So if you're kind of doing that doomer math and panicking that, what if at the end of the season the Twins don't win the division by 2 games and it's because they held on to Chris Paddack for too long? I'm not saying this means that's not going to happen because it could easily flip back around in 2025 and maybe the Twins will be 6-11 in Chris Paddack starts. But I'm just saying, that's maybe overthinking it. The starting pitcher definitely has a huge influence on his particular starts, but there's a whole lot else going on in these games. And, again, you want to put your best team forward, you want to put your best foot forward. But I think we can tend to maybe overanalyze some of that stuff. So if you haven't gathered by now, I'm on team keep Paddack around. Especially, if you're trading him, you're probably doing it just for salary relief. You're not bringing anything really that exciting back or really probably anything that's going to help the club in 2025. So why not bring him back? He's a veteran. He's been through it. He is depth. If nothing else, he's depth. And you're not really counting on him. But he's a guy in that depth picture, and the guys are going to get their shots. Your Festas, your Zebbies are going to get their opportunities anyway. So why not just hang out to this guy and give yourself some protection? But what do you think? That's my thoughts on the Chris Paddack situation. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Thanks so much for checking this one out. We'll talk again soon.